Hello, everybody, and welcome to my brand new podcast. Music to Live For with Shanti. It's me, Shanti, a Swiss musicologist and stage manager, talking with different artists and discussing different topics belonging to the music business. Who art as person, who choose art as a profession, and what we can learn from their professional and personal experiences. In this episode, I will talk with Pablo Sanchez, producer and guitar player for the South American hardcore band Billy the Kid. This episode was also named as the Anunnaki Connection. You will figure it out why. Enjoy!
Check this out. Music to live for with Shanti.
So, welcome everybody. This is the podcast, and I'm here today with Pablo Sanchez. How, Pablo? How are you doing, my brother?
Hey, brother, how you doing, Shanti? Everything cool? Thank you for the
Yeah.
chance and the opportunity to share here with you, man.
Hey, here in Switzerland, everything okay, and I'm fine. Definitely motivated for this episode, the so-called Anunnaki Connection episode. Yeah, we did it finally.
Finally, we did it. I'm extremely excited, bro, and you definitely hitting my spot here.
Yeah. So, Pablo, I let you introduce yourself so the audience know who you are.
Well, Shanti, I'm basically okay. Most of the people, I guess, they're gonna find a little connection with me in music because I am the guitar player of Billy the Kid. I've been touring Europe for more than 10 years already, so I've been in the music industry for a long time. I'm an audio engineer, record producer as well, so I've been working with a lot of bands all around Europe. And yeah, that's pretty me. Actually a little bit of me everywhere, like in the hip hop, hardcore, and like I mentioned before, working with plenty of bands all around Europe. So this is me, man. I'm from Costa Rica, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the first time we met here in Basel because I was, I guess, 10 years younger than today.
10
It's such a
years
long
ago,
time, man.
man.
And I remember Billy the Kid at the time was definitely something everybody was waiting for you here in Europe.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
we'll be able to organize a concert here in Basel, and it was really successful. It was really fun. And since that day, we kept us in contact. That's amazing, man. That's incredible. I
Bro,
mean,
that's something like I tell you, the energy and the way we bond together, it's been really amazing. Yeah, that's I guess that's one of the best words you can use to describe this connection we have. 10 years ago, bro, it's been 10 years already. 10 years of friendship, of good music and good energy. And yeah, definitely the golden age of the, for me at least, the hardcore scene in Europe. And wow, man, it's like when you say 10 years, it's like for me, my memory in my head is like yesterday, but it's been a long time, bro. And yeah, Shanti, we've been friends for these many years, man. I remember you like yesterday, the first time I met you, and from me, I was like, wow, who is this kid? I guess we have pretty in common because like when you go to the scenes and everything, everybody was not the same, but you know what I mean. Like I found like somebody who is kind of looking like me, and I feel really identified. Plus the energy and the aura we feel together is being like really transcending into even a spiritual connection. All this big energy we create as friends, as brothers, and we're still here, bro, after 10 years, and that's truly beautiful for me to keep connected, to keep good friendship, and to trust people for this long in a world which actually is chaotic, and you have nobody to trust and you can trust no one. There is always good people around, and there is always good friends like you, bro.
yeah, I remember at that time I was still a student at the university in Basel, and I never thought that organizing so many hardcore concert and shows here all in the city that I will finish working in musical in the classic music business, and
Wow,
but
yeah.
keeping staying true, keeping contact to the roots, the punk rock, the hardcore
The
scene,
pond rock, that's true.
and
And
that's
actually, I didn't
amazing because
mention before. Sorry, I didn't mention it before, but we still a straight edge, and we are a straight edge, and I think this is also a big bond we we share actually with, because there is a strong community, and with the years is like fading out, and we still there, and that, I guess, at least in the personal level, this means a lot to me, man.
yeah, because I think it's normal that with the time people change, take different path, but I can only recognize in my experience that there are some people, and one is you, is that still not the same in a bad way, but you still the same in contact. You know, you this the feeling you got the first time you met that person still alive right now, and that's amazing. What I love about music.
Yeah,
It's a way to connect. The why I
definitely.
choose to do this podcast is because I think I can talk about my experience of how I connect with people in different genre,
Wow.
in different ways, and also to give some new input for people listen to it. And I think this is what is really important right now, even nowadays in this strange period of COVID, that where we are all forced to stay apart, and this is that's something that so important to show that everything is possible, and to not to forget the people who are out there and they care about you. And
Word, bro. That's word. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I guess the time is one of the best judgments we can have for our lives. Let's say, for everything we do, time is judging. You know what I mean? It defines you who you become. It defines you how you transform into a new, let's say, in a new person. And time is moving. People is moving forward, moving backwards. People change for good, for bad, and definitely music is something, it keep us alive and keep people connected and keep great hopes, high hopes, and make people to remember, to even remember good times, bad times, emotions. And music is beautiful, man. Music is beautiful, and the way you are doing your show, I think is gonna be really, I guess, a really good experience for you, first of all, and then for all the guests and all the people who is going to listen to it. I guess they're gonna feel identified as well.
yeah, yeah. But you said you come from Costa Rica, and you also spent in the last year a lot of time here in Europe. So how do you connect with those two realities?
Oh wow, that's a good question, bro. Actually, I can tell you that I am from Costa Rica, and I've been spending in Europe almost since I came here the first time. So I spent a lot of time here in Europe before. In 2011 to 2012, I basically was studying in Germany. So I was doing all the working with bands and getting into the audio engineering, and I spent a lot of time in Germany by then. Then I started doing like back and forward, like I spent some time in Brazil as well at the meantime. I was like going for a few months there, a few months here, like, like just like jumping chips basically. And now I'm connecting here. I'm living here in Poland currently, so I actually go back to Costa Rica for holidays, and finally met with my family next week. So I'm talking about, we are in October in 2020, just for the record. So
Yeah.
next week of November, I'm going back to Costa Rica. So yeah, bro, I've been switching between Europe and America for a long time, and I still don't get used to many things in Europe, and I still missing many things in America. But yeah, bro, I'm happy. I try to be and feel comfortable whenever my heart is. So that's it, man. That's actually kind of complicated, because I'm always back and forward, bro. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is amazing because you're not the first people tell me some kind of experience in living in between worlds and cultures. But this is also
Yeah,
the fun part or the interesting part of have the chance to traveling thanks to the music all over
it's
the
crazy.
world, or spending sometimes in a specific city in a specific country and learn a new language, a new how people are used to living their life there. And
Yeah,
well, I think as an artist this could be just a plus. I mean, you just
yeah,
tank this energy. And we talk a
definitely.
lot about the connection. We talk a lot about the energy that's still. And I guess a lot of people listening to the podcast right now are gonna still asking what the hell is the Anunnaki connection. And I think we need to go into that because one of the things that brought us together with the time is the fact that we both were so into this kind of mystical theories, if I can call so. Those ancient astronaut. Uh,
Yeah,
does
man.
a data alien already come to the Earth before and something like this? And I don't even remember when we start talking about the things, but I think I guess you posted once on Facebook
I
something,
think so.
and
Yeah,
I
bro.
start answering. Oh, you're also into that kind of stuff,
We
like
match. Yeah, we
yeah.
match in the. Yeah, I
I mean,
remember. I
I got a lot of
remember.
respect for science and history. I think it's so interesting. But more you grow up, more you get into it, more you talk with people, and then you realize that there are so many open questions that are still open. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
man.
I always read about this topic, but maybe also related to other countries, and then you met people coming from that country and they say, but yeah, you learned that at school or you read that in that book, but we come from there, and there we got this legend, there we used to think about that and that, and then you realize, whoa, I never thought about that. So this is something interesting. I don't know if many of the audience know about these theories. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there believing that, for example, the ancient Egyptian got already contact with how we say UFOs. Maybe is the wrong word, because with
Let's
UFOs
say, let's call it extraterrestrial forms of life,
yeah,
or let's, yeah, aliens. I guess
yeah,
is the term. Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, like we definitely match when. Well, actually, I have to tell you that personally, I've been completely into all this subject since I remember, since I first started reading, and I learned to read and write. I remember I've been having all this question mark in my head, like, okay, well, who are you? Who is the human? What we are? What is a human? And I've always been questioning myself. I've been questioning God, the existence of let's say higher energy, higher power. And so, of course, with the time, I've been in study really much, and like you mentioned, I think I used to do that. I currently, I guess I grew up, I'm more mature, and I try to keep my thoughts for, let's say, for some kind of selective audience, like my friends, my loved ones, the people like I know I can talk and share about that. Because at some point I start seeing too much conspiracy theory, and then all this came up, like Illuminati and all that. And to be honest, I was already into all this since long time before, let's say, this become a trend. And when this become a trend, and I'm talking about maybe 2015, 14, that everything was like Illuminati and Masonry and all that, I was like, no, I have to step back a little bit, because this is like getting trendy, and I am not like that. I don't believe in this way. So I start kind of keeping the same thoughts and everything, but trying to keep it more in a shell, more close environment, like for my people who I know I can talk about that and all that.
yeah,
But yeah, bro, definitely this is something that Anunnaki Connection is how we call our passion, let's say our interest in all these mystical, magical, even esoteric subjects we constantly talk about, because we talk about this really often. And it's pretty cool that we have a little space in your podcast to develop the such a subject that is being like you mentioned, some people are not into, some people are into a different religion perspective. And first of all, I just want to let's say clarify everything. We do respect every sort of belief,
Of
and what we're
course.
gonna discuss, and what we're gonna discuss here is our personal perspective and our personal vision of what we think happened or will happen or is happening, so yeah, just to clarify that. And thank you for the space. I feel really like in the space today, so let's
Yeah,
do
I
this,
guess
man.
we
Like,
just need to go into it because there is a lot of musician. There's a lot of music out there inspired also from this kind of theories of topics, and it's not something that yeah, you need to as you said, it became like kind of mainstream a couple of years ago, and and then nowadays we also have this kind of term like called fake news that
yeah,
but
yeah,
this is
exactly.
something different. This is something more deep because it's got more connection with also more realistic thing. As you talk about, for
Yeah,
example, Illuminati, and then they used to post Freemasonry symbols. But if you don't,
yeah,
you
yeah,
should just, as you said, stop and say, "Oh, let's go. I got these 3 or 4 words that a name that I never heard of," and so you just go and do a little bit research on that, and then you see a lot of incredible thing. For me, for if I can tell you a little bit about my experience, already as a child, a teenager, I always been fascinated for these things. Like
yeah,
I always thought that it would be cool, like, or it's not a bad idea thinking about the existence of extraterrestrial entities, and even thinking, oh, they may reach human beings already in the past. Like, and I remember having 3 or 4 books at home belonging to my
yeah.
grandfather, and it already starting saying, hey, but
Since
why
young, yeah,
why there
same
is
for
this
me, man.
connection in between this and that? How could be our
Yeah,
ancestry done that and that? And so I started thinking, okay, it's nice to believe in that, but I don't want just to be there blindly, and just say, oh, I think this is better, can't that and that. No, I just want to
definitely.
keep my mind open and say, okay, I know what I learned at school, what I read in history books, what I learned from talking to that and that friends that maybe, for example, in Basel, I got a lot of friends study archaeologists. They went to Egypt, they went to Chypre, they went to Greece. They see with their own eyes and hands what archaeology is, and so sometimes it was like, oh, you got a lot of fantasy, but in the end,
Yeah.
studying other things. Although I did my study in religion science, and we start talking about also in about this kind of mysteries, those kind of special events. Like it could be like like thinking, oh, what is the energy in the world? Why
Yeah.
the Templar built some churches in some specific points all over Europe, and I was sitting there at school at the university and looking at my colleagues and I say, how would
Yeah.
you talking about that? That's amazing, like. Or I
Yeah.
remember this teacher bringing us for a whole semester um, through these topics more about. It got a lot to do with medicine and. Because it's about those people who are under surgery and they die for 2 minutes and they come back to life. So,
Wow.
so this was so interesting because in the end,
Interesting. Yeah.
we are going to that way. So this was like, okay, so it's possible also thinking about this kind of theories, about those ideas in a scientific way, without not just being interpreted as an hippie or somebody who just want
Okay.
to neglect all he learned in the last
That's
years, you know.
Yeah, that's actually fascinating, as you mentioned, like the human brain and let's say the human mentality is completely free. The imagination is endless, and for some people, it go beyond the imagination, and they start searching and looking for the truth and the right answers. And like you mentioned, there is there is books, there is many material on the internet, and you at the end you all can, even if you go too deep, you can even get confused because there is such a, let's say, incredible sources to get information that at the end one source is not matching with the other source, and then you get confused, and then you go to different, let's call it theory, but you go from one theory to another one and you start jumping. But I guess this is the interesting part of the human being, that we are always curious. We wanted to find out, we want to discover, or at least me, that I find myself completely curious person. Like I really been into this since I started reading. I've been reading the Bible. We got like Popum Bull, which is like more around Mayans, Aztecs, and all that is kind of Bible. Then I get into let's say, I don't know if I can say this, but I get into your roots as a human being, as, let's say, as a person who genetically is part of a different frame. And then I get into the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and I found extremely beautiful and amazing all these stories and tales about the humans and how we get here, and the masters of the humans, and stuff like this. So actually, like you said, it's a really big field for thoughts, for ideas. Some people like to stay, let's say, in a bottle and thinking about, this is what they think and this is what it is, and they don't go to see outside the window, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for other people, curious people like us, let's say, we like to, like, sneak all around, like trying to find answers here and there and everything. And like I mentioned before, like a few years ago, when everything, let's say, this little subculture of thinkers, let's say it, when the Illuminati, Freemasonry, all this see the light, it was like a big boom. So
Hmm.
everybody was actually really into it, and people start like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then there is all these misconceptions and misunderstanding of important things start happening. So you become a conspiracy theorist immediately. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yes.
people like us that we think about this, we become in conspiracy theorists, and we don't believe that, for example, COVID-19 is happening, and people just generalize in that way. And I don't blame or I don't judge nobody, because I guess everybody got the free will of thought and to think and analyze or get their own point of views, and that's cool. But yeah, we got into that frame of conspiracy theories. You know what I mean? At least me, because I some of the people who is really close to me, they know how interest and how into I am into all this for many years, bro.
Hmm. Hmm.
So of course I have to kind of keep a low profile now, because I don't want, it's not that I care, but for me it's just too beautiful and important in my life, that it's been something I've been studying for a long time, and it's something that I make me feel completely comfortable to talk about, even though sometimes the reality turn out more bizarre than even fantasy, and
Yes, 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 yes.
it's like extravaganza, like the reality or the real things we are living are completely, even 10,000% more bizarre than actually reality,
Yeah.
so
I guess that a couple
yeah.
of years ago, Winnie Paz from the great hip hop band Jedi Mind Tricks released that song,
End of days, I
"End
think.
of
Yeah,
Days,"
end of
and
days. Yeah, the big icon
I
at the
really
beginning.
enjoy the track because it resume all the this kind of theories and everything in very interesting ways, and it was like, okay, I love the song, I love what he's singing, and I need to go back into that, like what does he sing in that part and that, and just you notice that there's so many things that you could put to the test. Of course, you just have to embrace all these theories and all these ideas with an open mind. But I think
Yeah,
that's the point is that we all grow. I guess we are all, for the audience that is 30 and older, know the Indiana Jones movies. And when I was a
yeah,
child, I was watching those and without thinking, oh, that's a great adventure. You got the Nazi looking for those those objects belonging to different cultures because they know
yeah,
about their inner power, the energy, because the Bible says so, because that's only text said so. And I always thought, oh, that's I like this fantasy, this idea. Spielberg is a genius. And then during my studies, I recognize I recognize and I read even more books about that topics, and it becomes that this was a reality. The Third
yeah,
Reich went looking for all over the world. I mean, not all over the world, but it was looking really, truly on that kind of object. And this for me
yeah.
was like something that's because I thought that this was just a fantasy related to a movie, to a
Yeah,
story,
to Hollywood,
science fiction,
related to
Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah,
No, this is reality. You got those texts, those paper with whole
yeah.
signs from those ads in the Nazi movement, and that was crazy because I even discovered later on that the movie with Brad Pitt, 7 Years in Tibet. I don't know if this is the right
Yeah.
title, but I guess everybody knows what I'm talking about. And it's a story about this Austrian alpinist, and they went with into Himalaya for the Nazi, with the Nazi, looking for Shangri-La, and that's what's crazy.
Agartha.
Why they went
Yeah.
there? They wasn't there just to looking for the roots of the Aryan, so-called Aryan race. They were looking for this mystical city, and
They will actually looking for Chambala and Agartha and the inner
yeah.
earth. Bro, actually when you touch these about Nazis and World War and all that, I am completely wet about that because I really love that the fact, and I love to think. I guess that's the best way to describe it. That all the technology the Nazis had by that period was completely injected. Was not They have supersonic weapons, and we're talking about almost 100 years ago. So they already had high technology. They were developing high technology that is hard to believe there was terrestrial technology. They had a lot of technology injected. You know what I mean? Like they have then when you start discovering and you go book by book, or you're reading like really about the Thule, about the Brill Society, and about the Glocke. I don't know if you hear about that. This is this big bell the Nazis built, and actually was located here in Poland. And this was like a time machine that actually, when they start getting haunted, this big bell, I don't remember if it was about 3 or 4 tons heavy,
Mm-hmm.
just disappear with the scientists, with the physics that was, let's say, developing this time machine. And so it sounds like fantasy. Easy can be another Steven Spielberg movie, and it can be really easy confused by no, this is not reality. This is Hollywood. But no,
Yeah,
bro, they
but this is also because at school, you a lot of people maybe don't have this interest reading books about history or talking with people about history. And so the history of mankind is always shown like a linear thing, And when you
yeah,
arrive in the period about the Second World War, you got the politic, the the situation in Europe, politics, and
It's getting
everything.
focused in a
And
different
then
field.
you
Yeah.
go talking about important topic like the Shoah and everything. But if you go more into it about what was Germany at that time, what the mentality behind the ideologies of Hitler and everything, you notice there's a lot of things that had nothing to do really with politics, but there's also a lot of things to do a bit with those kind of mystical thing. Even thinking about why they choose the symbol of the swastika for their own party,
Oh
like there's
yeah, that's
and
something mind blowing, bro.
and this is
This
I
is
think,
this
of
is
course,
mind blowing.
tragic historical events, but still something interesting and something that maybe we need to watch with other eyes or from different perspective, even to know better why human being arrived to such kind of things. Like it's not something
Yeah,
to underestimate, and something, like as I said, the fact that we are used to watch some kind of situation from one way, from one perspective, and when there is a lot more behind,
a
as you said, there is a lot of
lot more.
what in that period has been created. I can only think about the story of those missiles, the what's the name, those the Vu 2, I think that was the name of those rocket that they got with the Nazi bombard England, and the fact that the American years later reached the space thanks to von Braun. That was one of the
Yeah.
greatest Nazi always say sorry. I can find the words in
Physics.
English. No, I mean it was really I was one of the greatest physics at the time, and it was working for them, and they they broke him to America and say, okay, you need to work for us, like.
Yeah, that's fact, bro.
and
I mean,
and
like, look.
this is so interesting because those are all dot that you have to connect by yourself, because at school they will never told you about that and that and that. This is,
We
and this
know
is
that.
what I think this is just to describe to the audience what we are doing with our passion.
Yeah.
It's not that we just read
Yeah.
something on the internet and we say, oh, that's
No.
nice, I guess I'm gonna start believing that. No, if I read that, I'm gonna look for other sources, and I'm gonna being, let's say, academic in this.
It's like a crucigram, It's like a
Yeah.
crucigram. You creating links, and we have to remember that actually who won the war is who write the books. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's it.
so it's fact. There is a lot of thing behind, and there is a lot of cool information and texts that actually are left behind, not only from the Nazis, but also from the Bible and all that. But for example, when we start talking about the Nazis, and then we start creating all these little links in between A and B and C and there, and then we start finding, for example, personas like Elena Blavatsky, who was the one who was this because the Nazis could become really esoteric at some point, and they start playing different kind of games. You know what I mean? So they have all these backgrounds of Blavatsky, and then Crowley also have something there to have something to do there, and all this Golden Dawn Society and the Tule Bri, like I mentioned before, and then this because Hitler, let's call Hitler, because actually we don't know who was actually behind him, but he was thirsty, bro. He was thirsty to go to the center of the earth. He truly believed that the earth was hollow and there was another society living inside. They create like Nazi bases in the pole, like north and south. They did a lot of explorations all over. And there is a lot of things that is still censored for us in 2020. Like, for example, what is actually happening in the top of the North Pole. We actually don't know what is going on there. And he was completely thirsty to find out what is in there. And probably they already find out, and they got a lot of answers for many questions. But it's interesting because they even developed these so-called flying saucers or like UFOs. You know, they were already developing this technology, and they got like flying disc. They already were flying like no conventional planes or helicopters as we know, but they were flying in this kind of high technology, advanced transport,
Yeah,
like
that's right.
something different.
There are also the plans. You can find
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of the
you can
plans to
even
build
find
those kind of machine. I mean,
exactly, but where this technology is coming from, where this idea, what was the inspiration, and you can find a lot of really bright minds in the Nazis. For example, one, it's not that I like him, but for me, it's really interesting. And this character is Mengele, which is the person in charge of all this human manipulation of the genetics and all these. And he is extremely, for me, is one of the most interesting, intriguing, let's say, character on all these movie of the Nazis and the war and everything. But definitely, Nazi movement, it become really esoteric, bro. It is really esoteric, from like you mentioned, from the, let's say, the emblem of the Nazis, this cross that got so powerful meaning in other culture, to the background of what they were looking for, to the background of the machinery they were developing, bro. The 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 weapons they were developed, the technology, the way they want to control people, the way he studies psychology, emotionally the people, and he become a leader with his, let's say, with his maniatic way to see things.
mhm.
And so it's just not as easy as people think, that it's all about the Holocaust and it's all about the Jewish. It's not. It's much more complicated. It's much more difficult to understand. You have to go to many different fields, and you have to study a lot about it, because it's almost endless. It's almost endless, the amount of information and the amount of secrets and crazy radical stuff that they were working on. It's mind blowing. And I, in my personal perspective, I do believe that they were having some extraterrestrial, um, let's say, how I can call it, injection of everything.
Yeah,
They
but I think
were
that there was also this idea that already in the past, maybe ancient culture already got this idea of technology, and with the
definitely.
time it went just lost, and because with different changement in the society, mentality, new ideologies, slowly everything went lost. And this is amazing. I think that some topics. I mean, like I guess we started to like with one of the topics quite
In the
advanced.
middle, maybe.
If
In the middle, yeah.
somebody want to get into those theories, it just have to think like South America, Machu Picchu. I've
Yeah.
never been there. I just saw pictures and some documentaries, and
Yeah.
to think about how people could, human being can build such establishment with stone and everything so
Yeah.
good coated, and everything, and put so high on the mountain, or why there are those Nazca lines on the sand.
Oh wow, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
interesting thing that one of my teacher in the music during studying musicology, it was I always been fascinating also from this kind of thing, like, so you see, as we said, it's not something that maybe you just say uh, like to everybody, I think that, or I'm to that, but you see that you are not the only one starting asking to yourself the question, hey, is real that, or why is that there? Like, um, like for example, this I talk about these Nazca lines on the sand, those figure of animals or of humans. Of course, you can come say to me, human always see the sky like the next frontiers, even ancient, though that all the power of the energy of the world come from the sky and everything, because the rain, the
Yeah.
thunder, and everything. So they thought those things to be seen for the sky, but still, scientists discovered those lines just thanks to airplanes. You know, like so. The idea is
Crazy.
that
Yeah.
somebody have to be able to see that from the sky.
From
And so
from the up.
why
Yeah.
and why it's not an option thinking about, oh, but it's not because there was somebody coming from outer space, or already coming from the entities coming from the sky, and keep contact with those primordial or ancient culture. Like there was an interesting documentaries about a topic more to do with anthropology, and they said that during the Second World War, when the Americans were fighting against Japanese, they sat on small island in the ocean, and on some of those small island there was so really I would say simple society, really like those you find on the Amazon, and really with basic rules, basic kind of society. And so they just built those places where they could land with the airplane and refuel and do like this. And uh, after they leave after the war, um, some anthropologists went to those islands, and they discovered that those population started building with bamboos and everything some kind of airplanes and something like this. And those airplanes were kind of divinities. The people coming out from the airplanes were like seen like gods or something different, you know. A little bit also like the idea that when the first European arrived in South America, the Indians saw those people on the horses, that they thought, oh, those are gods, you know, those are different,
Yeah, definitely.
different color.
That's
And so, you know, story and a little bit side story, let's say, are not so different. You know, you can connect a little bit this kind of this point, and asking to yourself, oh, so this is very interesting. But you can find also some interesting lecture. There is this one that I got in my book in my library. It's like, it's from Otto Rank, The Myth and the Birth of the Hero. And this book just took the myth of the hero from different culture, and they all got the same I would say
pattern
structure, the same pattern.
structure.
That's right. You can find it in the people, you can find it in the ancient Greece and everything, and you say, that's incredible. I mean, of course, people talk, tradition flows from a culture to another and everything. But I think that for another theory is incredible to think that different culture got the idea of built pyramids, right? I mean, with miles of distances. I mean, come on. I mean, already nowadays by plane, is not that you need to travel to go from Europe to States. So let's think about go back millions of years. No plane, no ships. I mean,
nothing.
But
look, if you give me the chance, I can maybe take a couple of minutes, and I can give you my really honest perspective of the origin.
Please,
something I've been studying. Yeah, because it's something I've been really studying for a long time. And like I told you, I found myself in a maze sometimes, like, oh, wow. But I believe, anyway, we have to know that from Asia to America, one by one, every single culture, they have a pattern. And this pattern is repeating, and nobody can say that it's not a pattern, because it is. But my personal perspective of the human race is that we were created to become slaves, okay? Let's say that everything starts. It's like story, because when you see it in that way, I guess it's easy to make the interpretation, but it's actually a story, not so beautiful, but it is. And it starts when, let's say, these beings higher in technology and everything, millions and millions and millions of years ahead of our current race, they were looking for gold. They were looking for gold. Gold, we have to remember that there is a couple of elements on the earth that don't belong to earth, and gold is one of them. This is why it's so precious, and this is why it's so, you will see them from Indiana Jones in Hollywood to let's say a status of the hip hoppers, the rappers, the stars. Gold is something really immensely valuable for some people, especially for the black people. This means a lot to them, more than probably to anybody else. We have to remember that in the search of gold, let's say they call it in the Sumerian books, in the Sumerian texts, Sanskrit and all that, they call them Anunnaki. These are these big giants who came to Earth in the search of this gold and develop or creation of the gold, and they found this primitive race as how we can call it, like primitive form of intelligence, that we were like Homo erectus by that time, and then they decide to play genetically with them in order to become slaves, to have slaves for them to work in this production of gold they were looking for. Okay, we have to remember that this, what I'm saying, is basically painted in a different with different paint, like in, for example, in the Bible or Mahabharata, all that, Quran, all the books, you got reference of these genetical experiments that we're doing with the humans. You can find it from the Genesis, when these Adam and Eve, and you know that Eve jumped from the rib of the man. But actually, these are just reference of the genetic experiments that they were doing with the humans. And I'm not talking about 1 month, 1 day. I'm talking about hundreds of years of experimentation.
Yes, yeah.
And they took the human race and they start developing new races. You can see basically a quick timeline in the dynasties of the pharaohs. You see how the pharaohs start changing because they were ruling these empires, and they start mutating, like from one form to another form to another form. And all these humans were developed with the simple reason of slavery. We were developed to be and become slaves, as we still, because we actually still being slaves of many things. But actually the human race developed in that way, and this is my personal perspective as I see it, after I study and after I read. And I do believe in this way because there is many patterns and paths that are matching with what I'm saying. So they create pyramids, they create all these beautiful things we cannot explain how they work or what they actually were and everything. But the main source of the main motivation for all these creations was the gold, because I guess they need to protect themselves. I don't know what is going on in the space by that time, if it was the ultra B light from the sun, because actually gold is taking care of that. So then we start develop societies. We start developing the empires and the Egyptian empires, the dynasties, the kingdoms, and all that. And then we start developing. Parallel with that, there was another injection of technology happening in the rest of the world, in little areas here. Remember, we have to remember that Africa is the motherland. Mesopotamia and all that was completely different of what we see right now in the map. Everything changed. We're talking about thousands of years ago. We're talking about this lost chain in the human evolution. Some people call it evolution, but we have a skip, we have a jump. We jump from, let's say, from step number 5 to number 7, and nobody explained what happened in
Yes.
this range. Why is lost? You know, the information is lost. Nobody understand why the humans were learning how to play with the stone and learning how to hunting, and then suddenly we got conscience, we got language, we talk, we speak, we are a superior race. We start ruling the world, we start ruling the animal kingdom, and we become basically what we are right now, that we are simple single individuals with consciousness. And this is this pattern, you find it in every single culture in the world. You find that they always, like you say, they always are praying for something that is coming from the sky. You so call it sun, you can call it the angels, you can call it God. It's always coming from the sky. In every single religion, you will find that this is a pattern we find. So it's definitely something coming from the sky. That's, for me, it's a fact. For me, it's a fact. And there is many things. And then we start again, like kingdoms, dynasties, from this to there, and then we start ruling different places, and then everything start changing. And in my personal perspective, there was another, let's say, kind of a guest in our planet who was teaching different was given different teachings, such as we have. Then we got, when you really go to, like you mentioned, like in the all these things happening in Peru, Ecuador, and all that, and then you go to Inca, Maya, Azteca, and then you jump there from Australian Aborigines, and then you will find, oh, interesting. Something is like they were always receiving teachings from a high, superior high being, and even the Noé, Arca de Noé, and all that. I don't know how actually you call that in English, but I guess it's pretty transparent. So the flute and all this, you find this information. When you really want to find answer, you will find something, because there is always something behind. And it's fact that many things in the Bible and many things in these religious documents, it's fact that it happened, not as they picture, but in a different, in like, let's say, in a different movie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like,
think that is so important to say that there's a lot of is those text books and legends are open to interpretation, and at the time we need to think that we need to find a way to create some allegory to explain some to sum up some space and time. And I can only think about the creation of the world, how is always in the Christian Bible explained. I mean, the 7 days is just a symbolic
yeah, 7 day
number. I
theory
mean,
is
you know,
7 day theory.
but this is not that it's wrong. It's just the fact that this is a easy way to explain to more people something more difficult, you know, or something that took so many time to realize.
To realize, yeah.
And this is so fascinating because, as you said, different cultures, same pattern, same story, same kind of legends. And I don't know, you just open your mind and say, oh, that's interesting, you know, this is something.
Why? It's like, why they all match? Yeah, this is the question. Why the Aborigines of Australia have something to do with the Aborigines of, let's say, America? And let's go deep in the jungle, let's say, with the Aborigines of Amazonia. Yeah, and then you see pictures, you see what they were, how they were drawing their gods, and then you see this pattern. And at the same time, you start asking how the Gregorian calendar is so precise, or how the Mayan calendar was actually precise at the time. And there is all these all this crazy stuff happening, bro, about also the stars, how they start reading the stars, how there is like for me, it's really fascinating. Like, wow, it's nothing like to go crazy on it. Like, I'm not any sort of theologist or something like this, but I did like I read the Bible. I read the Bible. I read a lot of biblical texts and religious texts, and there is many plenty of things and hidden messages that unfortunately in the big massive ears are not interpreted as they should. But I don't know if that was the intention, or if it's just like a broken telephone with the years,
Hmm.
but definitely there is a lot of things going on, and there is a lot of messages. There is a lot of hidden messages in all the texts, and they are trying to tell you, but you have to be pretty open in the mind, and you have to have some kind of background and knowledge so you can link it. Because like I told you, the Bible and the, let's say, Catholic religion or Christianity, it's kind of fantasy, it's like really fantastic. It's like everything is picture beautiful, like angels coming, and then Maria is the mother of baby Jesus, and it's like an angel make her
Hmm. Hmm.
pregnant. Well, you have to kind of go like in the, let's say, in the alien mode, and then you will wondering, okay, but let's say that Jesus is a humanoid, he's not 100% human, and he is half son of the God, son of the heaven, and half son of the earth. And then you start finding that you start like kind of linking, and then when you go to David and Goliath, and then Goliath is a giant, is the last giant. Yeah. And
Hmm.
then you go behind, and then you got these big giants who actually are almost all the texts, and everywhere there's giants, bro. Everywhere is giant Nephilim, which is the giants who come from the sky, and they fell in love with the women on the earth, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
decide to create like such a new race, let's say like this. So you have to understand the message, because they are telling you, but most of the people just go and listen to this Texas 365 one time per week, and they really don't put the attention on the detail of. I guess it's just like for me, it's kind of sad, because some of the mainstream religions are doing is like sedating. It's like we
Yeah,
do
you just
believe.
accept what they say. You just accept that without trying to, yeah, to keep your mind open.
I think that's actually the main intention. Like, they don't go deeper. They we Everybody needs faith. Everybody need to believe in something.
That's
Everybody
right.
need
Yeah.
to have hopes. It doesn't matter what. And for some people, and there is so many people who find their hopes, their faith in religion, and that's completely fine. It's something I never had any problem with. But I just feel that the community who is into, let's say, strictly religious community, is like sedated. It's like they just hear the text, they just hear the words of this person reading this literature, which actually is really 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 interesting. Nobody can put they cannot take the credit out of these books, because they have important information that, if you understand it and if you interpret it in the right way, you will find many amazing things. But like I
Mhm.
mentioned, it's like Christianity is like fantastic. They paint everything as angel coming from the sky and everything, and then when you go to the apocalypse, then you got the seven trumpets, and then you all these messages. But when you start even doing the numbers, even when you study the numbers they are using, it's a pattern again. It's like always patterns here, patterns there, even with the numbers, with the names. So at the end is about the personal perspective, and I guess this is something we have to we have to tell people, and I want to the people understand that this is personal perspective of you and me, and we are just let our thoughts speak by
Of
their own,
course,
you
of
know.
course, of course, and this
Some
also, as we were saying, we are musician. This is part of what maybe indirectly or directly influence our way to
definitely.
write music,
Oh
or
yeah.
way to transmit some kind of message. And going back about all the religious texts all over the world, we also need. I think this is important that people maybe start open their mind and start to research or try to go back, because there's a, it's well known that a lot of texts we have right now is just like the new version, the 2.0 of ancient texts that we have,
Yeah.
and they
That's a good one.
change
Yeah.
that and that just to fit into the society of that time and everything. And I think it's in general now. It's hard because you are put to the test. A lot of things that are like normal are sure secure in the mind of a lot of people. So when you have to discuss something or maybe accept that there can be an option or things are different, changement is something that's evolving, changing is something that scares a lot of people, because and this is so this is one of the reasons why maybe some people just don't want to really, for them it's just enough, and that's good, because if they're living a good life, they're feeling safe, they're feeling happy with that, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But
I
the
think it's
reason
the
why that this is Anunnaki connection, let's say, is that we are a musician. We come from two different part of the world.
interesting. Yeah.
Music create this bound, create this friendship, and we also have the chance to understand that we share also a common interest and a common way of think. And
Yeah.
and this, I guess, in this episode I used the word amazing like 1,000 times, but this is
Yeah.
still
Sorry, me
amazing,
too. I
right?
think I use one word a lot of times, but I guess I like I told you, and like you mentioned, is all about that. I think unfortunately we as a humans, we've been censored. There is a lot of censor, everything. They censor many and lots of important information. They even censor the woman as the woman for many things. There is a lot of censor. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there is some things that they're not they don't work equally, you know what I mean. And I think the mentality, the brain, the thoughts, the ideas, the spirituality, and all this is being part of this censorship.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely it's something that I told you, we can spend hours and hours talking about this and that. There is another let's say a new subject about the new theories now, the new conspiracies. Then you will find out all these Epstein, adrenochrome, and all that. These new things that are happening and are making people more awake. And this is something I touch in my other musical project, which is Carta Magna, and it's like it's a hip hop, but I call it like a rebel hip hop because I'm talking about. I'm not going so directly in my own perspective of way of thinking, but I like to touch things that are actually pretty human, the problems of the humanity and stuff. And and now soon I'm gonna release one new song about this adrenochrome and all these, let's say, conspiracy theory that actually is nothing new. It's being sacrificed to Moloch since many years. You got the
Hmm.
Bohemian group doing sacrifices. You got the Skull and Bones Society. You got even Freemasonry. They do. There is a lot of societies, or let's say secret societies, doing these type of things, and now it becomes famous because of the Hollywood and all this Beverly Hills style and all that. And so is touching people finally, because there is a lot of stars involved, people from from famous people from Hollywood are involved in all this. So people get interest. But to be honest, this is something that is going on for long times. It's been sacrificed since the Mayans, you know, they've been sacrificing humans. And there is a lot of things going on currently. We currently are living in this such pandemia, if you want to call it like this.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So I guess now it's like the tip of the iceberg for many people to realize and think and analyze, and it's a really good chance to really finally think if the human. We all know that the human being as a being will never be controlled with love. We always gonna be controlled by fear, by terror.
Yeah, that's
They've
right.
been
If you
doing-
see the story, as we talk about this line that is
Yeah.
the story of mankind, you can see that in every ages and everything. And once again, as you said, that those are topics that are coming out here right now, thanks to social media, thanks to political fake news, or how people like to call those stories. But I think that in general, all over the whole, I would say, as we've spoken about the ages and different period in time of human beings, it's like society like to be more romantic, you know. Maybe we don't need to, in some ways it's a truth that there are those kind of society, but on the other way, they still to picture those, like, you know, occult and stuff like this. But let's just think, the world always worked with some few people with power, and you don't have to think that necessary to have to belong to, you know, some mystical sect or something like this, because
Yeah.
this is the way but we like to think that, you know, it's like it's less heavy to understand and to accept. It's like more interesting. So in the end, you got these two point of view. One is what maybe could be like a relation with the past, a relation with ancient tradition and everything, and on the other side you got this like everything nowadays have to explode, everything nowadays has to be, oh my god, have you seen that and that, you know, like. So I think that also for people like us that get into those kind of topics, it's so important to find the borderline, you know, where the things start becoming quite too absurd, also to see, like.
Yeah, it's too evident, it's too easy to see and to catch. They're not like as hidden as before and as hidden as our parents, because if we go back a couple of generations from my, let's say, grandparents and parents, things were not so clear for them. They were like hypnotized by all these new things they were having, such as television, even radio, news, and all the. You just have to close your eyes and really think about this, because the human race is being slaves since long time, long period. And like I said before, the way we become slave is by fear, by terror. They've been doing this since long time, since everywhere. I mean, like, it just started like long ago. You see this when they try also to kind of shoot us with the H1N1 flu and all this Ebola and all that, and now finally they nail it with the COVID. And I'm not saying that COVID doesn't exist. This just to clarify. But in my very personal opinion, I am pretty skeptic about the mortality rate and these big fat numbers they are putting. And when you analyze historically, you will realize that every 100 years around this period, it's like they do economic reset. So you kind of need to do the link. I'm not saying that there is no people dying by this. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I'm just, in my really perspective, I see that the numbers are too fat. And when you check the real percentage over the population of world and countries, are 0.0 something. Is not that actually not even hit 0.5%. you know. So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that now we've been sedated once again. We, as you can see, there is no much we can do. We just have to follow the rules because we become followers, as Instagram, as Facebook, as all these things start popping out, we become followers. And now we have to follow the rules of, I guess, as something really well orchestrated, because this plan is really well orchestrated. It is happening globally, it's simultaneously at the same time everywhere, really well connected. And at the end, some people start seeing it now. Currently here in Poland, there is strikes and there is people kind of doing manifestations because people start noticing that something is going out of control, that something is not matching. There is some kind of discomfort in many things, and that the things are not really matching with what you truly see. And in America, it's the same. Countries like from United States to Brazil down there, it's like they, I don't know. In Brazil, there was one hospital which was actually empty, and the government said that there was no space. And somebody break inside the hospital, and the hospital beds were like completely empty. The hospital was empty, and they said that was full of COVID, and the people was sick there and dying for COVID, but the actual hospital was actually closed. Nobody was there. So things like that make the people angry, and then start realizing. And I guess this is something we will survive. Now, COVID is not pandemia; it's more endemia. So means that the human race need to live with this. It's gonna be like a natural selection now. They already said that this is not pandemia. This is more endemic. Let's say, how we call it, disease or contagion. I don't know. This is now endemic, which means that we should live with this now. This is gonna, the people die because they need to die. The people who survive is because it's natural selection. And so, okay, but what happened with the economy? What happened with all these people who was working? What happened with all this business? What happened even with the gyms? What happened with the little clubs? What happened with the music?
Yeah, that's bring us to the close of this episode. What's gonna be with the music business? I really hope that, because me and you, we should be on tour. We should be touring.
We should.
Summer.
You okay?
And I hope that we could do that next year, because as you said, life as we know before, I don't think we will find that balance we had. Now we have to follow some new rhythm, some new word, but for sure we will find for a good balance also for that, because this is what human beings doing. They survived, right? I mean, and I think that a lot of people, it's good that there is a lot of discussion between the population, because in the end it seems that all the country in a political way, there's so different opinions, and people are just tired of that. They would like to have, I guess it's for everybody, it's clear that it's not that we could have maybe a solution after one night, one day from another, but this insecurity, this is not healthy. And I really hope we have a lot of colleagues, friends that are in the music business now that are still asking to themselves, hey, what we're gonna be, what we're gonna do. And this is, I definitely want to send a huge hug to all those people all over the world, because you are not alone. We are in the same. We are in the same.
Everybody is
for sure we're gonna find a solution. Pablo, I definitely have to thank you for this episode, because it was something special. It was something different. The connection, this is the idea of the podcast, just sitting there and talk with some friends that your friends that I met thanks to the music, and this is our topics that comes out with the time. Just our passion and interest that comes out thanks to the fact that music brought us together. And this is a great thing. This is a blessing. And I'm really happy that you took the time to share with me and with all the public of the podcast Of course, we talk. I guess for so many people, some of the topics were kind of new.
Awkward,
Some
maybe sometimes. Yeah,
yeah, but I think it's okay to be critic,
I think it's
to
pretty
push a
okay.
little bit. Like
I would like to. I would like to have more podcasts like this. Maybe not with me, or if it's the chance to, maybe we can do another episode. Perfect, bro. Count on me. But I always are trying to look for people talking about my interest, and I guess we will get in touch, or people will get in touch with your podcast, and they will feel that this is something they are interested in, and this is wonderful. This is beautiful. About the music, yeah, COVID killed the music this year. COVID killed us as a musicians, killed the tour. We should go on tour and everything, but everybody's in the same shoes right now. And like you mentioned, I also want to extend a big positive thought with all my musicians, with all my friends, everybody who is in the music industry, and not only the music industry, everybody who is entrepreneur and try to work by their own and is being affected by this tragic of this year, to keep it up. I know they want us to see us depressed. They want us to see us emotionally unstable, but and unfortunately we were, and we, some of the people, we still depressed, we still unstable, but we will recover. If not, we have to keep moving forward. And Shanti, thank you so much for the chance, for the opportunity to speak what I like to talk and to speak my thoughts out with you guys. And it means a lot for me. It means really a lot. It's really important for me. Count on me for whatever else you need. And this thing you are starting is something really cool. Keep it up. You are a
thank you,
great guy.
thank you very
And
much, Pablo.
many people, yeah, many people love you. And keep it up, bro. Keep the good work. And for the rest of the people and friends, we have to keep moving forward. Unfortunately, there is not much we can do. We have to follow and we have to obey. But in our hearts are stronger than our bodies. So we have to keep with the good energy, with the positive thoughts, and keep attracting and using this magnet we have in the top of the head to bring good energy, good people, good vibes, good aura. And bro, thank you so much once
Thank you
again
too,
for
Pablo.
the
Thank you
chances.
too. And I think your last word were just perfect because it's something that I say to a lot of friends every day to stay strong, stay healthy, and stay positive. And thank you again to be part of the podcast. And I wish you all the best, my friends.
Check this out.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Do you have any question or you just want to get in touch with me? You can send me an email at musictoliveforwithshanti@gmail.com.
Music to live for with Shanti.
Let's close the episode with a song from Pablo's band Billy the Kid. Don't forget to check them out on all the online music platforms. Let's warm those winter days with the song Grand Jaguar.
Resta, vamos, let's go! An enormous gorilla has been captured and is being brought to Tokyo.
Yes, I am feeling so far. Feeling the blessings of the jungle. Feeling enjoying the rhythm, the sound of the Caribbean fire. Jungle fever continues. Let that gorilla out. More fire. Feel the fire. Rah!